Hi, everybody. We're going to try this one more time, see if it's something that's worthwhile to do. So one of the things I thought of a little while ago was in trying to do this a little bit, kind of maybe like late at night on a Thursday night. And I don't know, again, I'm not sure if it will be something that people want to get involved in or not, but, you know, there's only one way to figure it out, and that's to give it a go. So here we go. One of the most beautiful things that you get a chance to see in your life is watching people become really special people. You know, you start, hi Lily, hi Alex, hi Nelly, amazing that we're doing this. Moshe, oh my God, this is brilliant. Scott, nice to see you. It's when you watch somebody do something really, really beautiful, really, really almost out of character to the way that you know them. And when you get a chance to be able to see someone act in that extra special way, it really inspires confidence because you're realizing that people can be much more than they thought they could be. So, hey Jonathan, hey Hadassah, hey Israel. So I thought maybe we'll talk a little bit about this idea tonight. You know, there's this idea in the Torah that talks about a Nazir. Now, we might know a Nazir as a guy with like long hair and stuff like this, and we're told he can't drink wine and he can't become impure, and it's literally called in the Torah Nazir. The Hebrew word is related to the word nezer, which means a crown on his head. So much so that it's called like a crown on God's head. Like, what's he done that's so special? So he's not drinking wine for like 30 days. He's not touching dead people for 30 days. That just means he can't be in the sixth sense, right? And he's not, on top of that, he's making sure not to what's it called? To cut his hair. I mean, I've gone more than 30 days without a haircut. You could probably tell, you know, it's not exactly that big a deal, at least in my case. Maybe in Hannah or in some of the other people's cases, it might be a bigger deal. But I don't really take all that much great care of myself. So why is it called a crown on God's head? What's so special? And I thought maybe just sharing one idea with you guys tonight. And that is that the word that we use in the Torah for someone that stays away, that exercises some level of constraint, of determination in making sure they don't do something, the word that we use is yafli. It's wondrous. It's almost like a miracle to be able to say no to yourself, to your desires, to be able to say, I'm not going to have that cup of wine. I'm not going to do this thing. To tell yourself not to do something is quite often really, really difficult. Anyone who's ever tried to have a diet will know this is exactly the case. You can't touch that piece of cake. You can't have this food. You can't have this. You can't have that. Even this tiny amount of self-discipline is considered to be beautiful because for people, it's not natural. It's not natural to tell ourselves no. Now, today's society would have us believe that we're not supposed to tell ourselves no for anything. Anything you want, just go ahead, have it. And I think in some ways you find these people who are celebrities, who they have all the money in the world, but they still have a problem. They feel like a need to nick things or to not pay for them because of the thrill. When someone gets taught again and again, just have what you want, do what you want, the world is your oyster, well, what do you expect? What do you expect? Now, this idea is so beautiful because it teaches you that even if a person could say a little tiny no in their life, to even something as small as, you know, not having wine for a short amount of time, or not to cut my hair, or not to come into contact with something impure for a tiny amount of time, that makes a person into the crown of humanity. Because every single thing in this universe is motivated by one thing only. Motivated by instinct. And that instinct drives every being. It's what the thing wants, and it tries to get what it wants. And that's the only governing idea. But then there's a human being. And a human being can live above that, can decide for itself, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And I want to share with you. One of the greatest lessons I learned from my dad, actually, he didn't teach me at all. Set the scene. It was Yom Kippur, the holiest day. Now, I don't know if all of you guys are Sephardi. I know Daniela, Jessica, Rafi, and not, but David is, and he's my brother, so he'll actually know this story probably. On Yom Kippur night, so the Sephardim, we have this kind of weird song that we sing, and it goes, Anenu Elokei Avraham, and that's like very special. You have to get chosen to be the one that actually says the Anenu. So it's like a big deal, and they look around the synagogue, and all the important people, like they get to do one of them. That's like the thing. Either way, so they're going through all of them, and there's only one left. And all the eyes in the synagogue, hey Dave, they look at my dad as the rabbi because it's his turn to say something. His turn to go. He's the rabbi. And as my dad starts saying, Anenu. This other guy starts going at the same time. Anenu. Awkward. I can't even tell you. And everyone's like looking between the both of them. And I don't think either of them had realized yet because they were both like singing. And then like 2 words in, and then they're looking at each other. And the guy basically shouts at my dad in front of everyone on Yom Kippur when the most people in the world, are in synagogue. And he's shouting at my dad, "Who do you think you are? Da-da-da-da-da. Do you know who I am? Blah, blah, blah," in front of everyone. And I'm waiting for my dad to rip his head off. To tell him, now you come to shul, you come only so few times, and now when it comes to the big part, you want the moment, blah, 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 blah. My dad doesn't say a word. At the time, we were living in the synagogue. My dad stands up, walks right out of the synagogue, up the stairs, and into his room. The synagogue goes absolutely silent. I remember watching. It was so awkward. People looking at this man. How could you do that? The man goes upstairs, knocks on my father's door, but he hadn't said one word. And to me, in so many ways, the greatest lesson I'd ever learned from my father was not to speak, to yell, to shout, to protect your place, but to be able to have enough strength inside of yourself to not say something. That is unbelievable. That is wondrous. And I think if we were able to experience, if people were able to just hold back, we've experienced a terrible week of tragedies. And all of them, besides for this one terrible tragedy with an alligator, they were all perpetrated by people, by human beings. Human beings who have parents, who have children, who understand relationships and what they're supposed to be about. And yet, when it came down to it, the fact that someone else was different was so hard for them to deal with that they just needed to eliminate that person so that they could feel better about their worldview. That's what happens when a world is full of people who are incapable of telling themselves, you know what, it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's against the way you feel or think. Deal with it. Calm yourself just a bit. And I'll never, 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 never forget my father's back as he walked up the stairs out of the synagogue and upstairs to the room. Ladies and gentlemen, or whoever's out there listening, Michael from Ecuador is with us, Danielle, Ori, Rabbi Jonathan Gwirtz, my brother Dave, Nessia. If I could share one message with you, it is, own a tiny no in your life. Own for yourself a little space where you are capable of saying to yourself, this is what I want to do, this is what I feel like doing, but you know what? It's not the right thing. That power, it allows you to be greater than any living thing in this planet, which is completely dictated by their instincts and their desires. So this week, if I could ask you to do one thing, it's to find one thing in your life that saying a no to yourself on would actually bring you so much more happiness and joy. If you have kids and the kids get you really upset and you want to just tell them to go to their room, quiet, whatever, but instead you tell yourself, no, you know what? Engage. Spend the extra few minutes, even though you're busy, even though you're tired. No, I'm not just going to walk away. I'm going to engage. And when a person does that, oh my God, because then your power grows, your strength grows, you're able to say no to things, to flaws in yourself that you never thought you'd have the power to be able to stand up against. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining us live on this week, hopefully on a Thursday night. Again, if it proves to be popular, we'll carry on. A tremendous shout out to Tamar, Daniela, David, Leslie, and Nellie. We hope to see you next week, Thursday night late, with Rabbi Farhi on Rabbi Farhi Goes Live. Peace out. Shabbat Shalom.